Hi guys and welcome to my review of Boku no Hero Academia chapter 168. I think I'm just gonna make this entire chapter about Aoyama. I'm gonna be real here, it's been like 2 days since I read the chapter. And I'm like slightly skimming through it now, but I don't think anyone but Aoyama was relevant for at least this review. So let's talk about Aoyama, because I think more people in my comment section were like, oh, he's definitely the traitor. More people thought than I anticipated. And I'm not gonna say you're wrong, like obviously you know I think you're wrong, but you could be right and I might end up eating my own words. But let's talk about the two messages that Aoyama gives Deku. The first one is the one left on the, do you call it a balcony? I feel like, I don't know. Where it's like was it made out of cheeses? Because I feel like that was real. But it says I know. And I remember when I first read the chapter, I was like, wait, you mean he knows about One for All, or what do you mean I know? And then you can we read further into the chapter and he has the when they're practicing, let me just still waters run deep. Oh, I'm actually gonna talk about Bakugo later. Let's save that for later. Like, if you don't want to hear me ranting about Bakugo and Deku's relationship, just skip the last bit when I get to that, because I might get emotional. As I always do when I talk about those two. Anyway, Aoyama. He has the message of still waters run deep. And I know. So, looking back at the chapter, I think what he means with I know is that he knows there is a traitor. Or something to that extent. And I think the reason he says that is because he either knows who the traitor is or he suspects someone of being the traitor. And I think the I know is supposed to say, I know there's a traitor, and the still waters run deep is who he's hinting Deku should be suspicious of. Because the still waters run deep it's like the quiet ones, they're hiding something, or there's an underlying passion / secret / dark past, or whatever. And first of all, it makes no sense if Aoyama wrote that message and was like, oh, I'm the traitor, so I'm gonna give you hints about me being the traitor. Because first of all, I mean, it could be him trying to put them on the wrong track, but that makes no sense because Deku has at no point that, oh, I think there's a traitor. It's all been the teachers. Also, just a quick note, someone asked me last time if I still think it's voice Mike who's the traitor, because at some point I said it. I did say at that point I had no reason for thinking it's just because I had no other candidates, because Tsukauchi just seemed like obvious red herring. But I have said, I think I started saying this 2 or 3 months ago, that I think Ruraka is the traitor. And I'll maybe remember to put a link to why I think she's a traitor in the description. Just if you haven't read that theory, that's absolutely the most perfect thing I've ever read, and just I would love for her to be the traitor because of what it would do to the story. Anyway, yeah, what I was saying was that because there has been no indication of Deku thinking there's a traitor, it would make no sense for Aoyama to hint that he knows there's a traitor, or that he's telling Deku to suspect someone of something. And even when it comes to the still waters run deep, I mean, Aoyama isn't exactly a quiet kind of guy. He's very flamboyant. Like, you remember, I just rewatched the episode where they got their costumes for the first time, and there's that that moment where they're all asking All Might about the rules of the game they're gonna play, and they're all like, are the teams gonna be random, or are we gonna be scored? What's gonna happen? And Aoyama's like, isn't this cape flashy? Like, he might be really weird, and I think that's why he's doing all these weird things. Like, he's like a convoluted ball of flamboyant energy, which was a very weird sentence, but you know. I just don't think that. Just it doesn't make sense for me. And again, with going with the theory that Uraraka is the traitor, the still waters run deep. That fits her more. Not that she's quiet all the time, but she's definitely more quiet than Aoyama or someone like Gachan. But everyone is more quiet than Gachan, I suppose. I just don't see Aoyama because I said this last time as well. Because it's been so long, Aoyama being the traitor has no impact, and just Deku saying by the end, we became quite good friends after that. Like, that would really cheapen it still if it's Aoyama who turns out to be the traitor, and Deku would be like, no, my friend. And on top of that, like, Aoyama suspecting there's a traitor and perhaps knowing who it is, or perhaps knowing it's Uraraka, if let's go that far, would fit perfectly with his observant nature, because he's the first one to point out that Uraraka has a crush on Deku way back in the end of term exam where they're being sucked into 13's black hole. He's also observant in the fact that people are moving or evolving at a much quicker speed than he is, because like he still has the very, very bad limit of, I literally get a stomach ache after 1 second of using my quirk. So obviously there's a feeling there of inferiority, which he struggled with in the exam arc. Hero license exam arc, I should put those in different categories. So I just don't think he would be the traitor, and I think it would be much more interesting if he's the guy who figures out who the traitor is, especially because he hasn't built up the same kind of trustworthiness that someone like Ida or Todoroki or Momo has built with Deku, you know, especially after the saving Bakugo arc, which is not what that arc is called, but you know, just for that point of the story. Especially because Aoyama's like, he's a new friend Deku has made. He's kind of like an oddball. He's very weird. He's always been very weird. So it's not, again, I think it would be much more interesting to see. I also read this theory. I was scrolling through Tumblr, and someone said it would be, it would almost make sense if the teachers, like, they put a spy into the dorms, because when they initially said we're gonna have dorms, we're gonna have the students live there because it's safer. They also said to keep an eye on the students. Because obviously ever since I was about to say the Slane arc, but that's not right, the USJ arc, they've been suspecting that there's a traitor somewhere. And it could be from anyone in the school. It could be a teacher, it could be like any faculty member, or it could be a student. And putting all the students in dorms obviously allows them to just keep an eye on them. And having a person within that dormitory to like keep an even closer eye on everyone, that would just make sense. And if that person is Aoyama, I mean, no one's gonna say, oh, Aoyama is acting very differently from normal when he goes up and stuffs cheese into people's mouth, because Aoyama is just a freaking weirdo. So he can get, I mean, he can't really get away with doing really weird shit like spying on Deku in the middle of the night, but no one's gonna say it's out of his normal behavior. People are just gonna say, okay, that was a little creepy, could you please not? But no one's gonna suspect him of suddenly changing his behavior and, oh my god, he's suddenly spying on us. Which again would probably be the perfect cover if he does turn out to be the spy. I mean, some people are like, oh, I've suspected Aoyama for years, and I don't think it's wrong to have suspected Aoyama from the beginning, because he is like, he's the kind of person who always seemed, maybe not like an outsider, but just, he didn't have a group he fit into. Like, even fucking Minetsa, like, kill the guy. I don't like Minetsa, sorry. But, like, even he seems to have a group. Like, he seems to be pretty buddy-buddy with Kaminari. He seems to be pretty buddy-buddy with Deku. He even seems to be able to have a conversation with Tsuyu without her literally trying to drown him. Or do something else to him. Even though, you know, fuck Mineta. I don't like him. And I believe Roger said that one of his favorite characters, if not his favorite character, was Mineta. So I'm just like, wow, Roger, I usually respect your opinion, but I cannot with that. Anyway. Yeah, but I think that's what I have on Aoyama. It makes more sense for me that he's just weird in what he does, and just because I want that emotional impact. I want Deku to feel very betrayed or I want All Might to feel very betrayed when it comes down to who is the traitor. And I mean, even at this point, it would be kind of a shocker if it turns out to be Tsukauchi who's the traitor. Although it would also kind of feel like an Obito moment, which I do not want, because it's like, oh, it's obviously this guy, and then when it happens, you're like, oh, I hope never mind. Now I'm gonna talk about Deku Kachan. I promise it's gonna be less than 5 minutes, because I don't actually have that much to say, but like, we don't. Okay. First of all, their conversation. Let's talk about that first. Kachan asks if he's made any progress, and Deku says no. And the conversation is very much a parallel to when Kachan asked in the hero license exam, have you finally made that power your own? Which Deku does not answer. But it's very much a parallel to that, just like Kachan checking up on his progress. But unlike in the hero license exam, before he knew about Deku's power and his connection to All Might, there were no words after that. Just like they just walked away. Here, he says, I thought you were gonna surpass me, encouraging Deku to catch up to him faster. And if you take this panel and compare it to the other panels we've had of this exact setting with Kachan walking in front of Deku, one this is one now. One, there's less space between them, which because of the conversation, the nature of the conversation, that can mean two things. Either one, Deku's catching up, and because Deku said not at all, you can assume that's not really it. Which leads you to think it's not that their power levels are getting closer, it's that their personal relationship is getting closer, because unlike Kachan being racking down on Deku and bullying him and stuff like that, he's encouraging him in his own Kachan way, but obviously because Deku knows him so well, he understands that. Which the next panel where he looks very determined says, instead of the first one where he looks very sad. Another thing to point out, which is with this panel, is that Deku is standing still, which is the first time he's done that, and that can signify two things. It can signify either that Deku is done following Kachan, because he did that in the two others, like the first one when they were children, and he was following along because Kachan was like, I'm the leader, blah blah blah, and then the second one because Kachan was like, we have to talk about your quirk, and they were going to that side where they were gonna fight. But here he is standing, and obviously he's standing because he's kind of lost. But it could also just be like a slight nudge to the fact that Deku is done following Kachan. From now on, he's gonna surpass him. He's gonna run to surpass him, which is gonna be really great. Because as much as I always want Kachan to win and be the best person, I also want to see Deku succeed, and I want to see Deku beat Kachan in a match. Like, legit beat Kachan in a match. Because you can make a very good argument for the fact that Deku definitely won the fight, the very, very first fight they had. The very first Deku versus Kachan. But I just, because of how damaged Deku was afterwards, and the fact that Kachan had no injuries, I don't really see that as Deku winning just because they won the game. And after that, I don't think they haven't really fought much after that. They've just been forced to work together and stuff, so. But yeah, I would like to see Deku win against Kachan at some point. It'd be a really great moment, I think, for all of us. And it definitely make them seem more like equals, because Kachan always wins. So that'd be really great. I have to be for that. I would love for them to become sparring partners. I think that'd be really, really funny. And just good for their relationship generally. And good for their abilities and progressions as heroes. I think they could benefit a lot from spending time with each other and maybe drawing on the other person's good qualities, and just like understand what they need to better about themselves, especially for Kachan. But now my 5 minutes are up. I'm gonna stop talking. Yeah, those are my thoughts about this. I'm just gonna quickly scroll through the end of this chapter just to see if I missed something. Just quickly. Oh yeah, he did talk about his quirk, but I still think that it's more about the traitor. Because what he says is, no, I know that you got your quirk from this. He just says, oh, you don't control it well. And obviously Aoyama does say he was born with it here, so yeah. I think that's it. I do think that's it. But again, I said this last time as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Aoyama turned out to be some sort of traitor, but I would be very sad if he's the traitor. I want there to be another traitor as well. Just, I would not be satisfied with Aoyama being the traitor. Just to repeat what I said last time, but yeah. That's it for this. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, and you can subscribe. And until next time, bye.